I should have been.
That's okay. No problem at all. Okay, does anybody have any questions on the overview or locations for things? Nope? Okay, fantastic. Project cadence and duration. So this project is expected to take 40 hours per participant, and it's spread over 8 weeks. So that's about 5 hours a week, give or take. Some might take a little bit more, some might take a little extra, but we want to know like how you're doing with that time commitment so that we can continue like refining this and making sure we're staying within that 5-hour expectation. So please let us know if how that's going. If you're spending all the time, if you're spending extra time, if you're flying through it and doing amazing stuff that I want to know. Okay, each week, the 4 of you will split into 2 pairs of 2. And again, we've defined that down here. And when you do that, you're going to tackle one of the stories on the issues list together. Just pop back over here, you can see it. And these are the pairings. You'll probably be referring back to these quite often as you figure out who you're going to be working with going forward. But as you can see, kind of like you all get a chance to, what is it, Andrew? You get a chance to pair with everybody about twice?
Yeah, it's because it's the number of weeks, you don't get everybody 3 times, but you get everybody twice, and then like you'll get somebody else a 3rd time, I think is how it works.
Awesome. 8 weeks of magic and awesome devness. It's going to be so fun. Okay. Pair programming. So pair programming is like the bread and butter of Collab Lab, and it's where all of the most like magical learning and collaboration and programming happens. It's like where you can like learn and grow and build bonds and really like solidify what you know because you get to talk about it and work together. And it helps you avoid we've all done a bunch of coding by ourselves, and you like get hung up on an issue and spin your wheels on it for like hours. When you pair program and you have another like whole nother set of insight and input, it can help you like really stay on track and steer the ship a little bit better and learn from each other. So each week, a portion of your 5 hours is going to be spent pair programming with your partners. And over the 4 cohorts we've done, we've seen it done like so many different ways. There have been times when it's like you spend about 2 of the hours pair programming. This cohort that's running right now, number 4, said that they spend like all of their time pair programming. Like they haven't been doing any solo programming. So it's kind of like what works for you and for your schedule, but do know that that's what's expected, is that you'll be doing quite a bit of pair programming and working through this together. There's really no right way to pair program. And in a few weeks, we'll be going over like some of the best practices for it. But in the meantime, I would totally encourage you to kind of go out, maybe do a little research about how to best pair program and try some different things. Try different things with each of the people that you pair program with, because it's going to be different with everybody. So pair programming is going to happen. You're going to love it. You're going to grow from it. It's going to be amazing. Any questions on pair programming before I move on? Cool. If you ever have any questions about any of this stuff and it comes up in the middle of the night or while you're at work, just put it in Slack and somebody will get back to you about it, because we're totally here for you. Okay. Weekly syncs each week. And these have happened on Sunday in the past at whatever time ends up working well for everybody, but it's flexible and we can adjust it, but we'll kind of get a consensus at the end of this call about when that will be happening going forward. But we'll have a 1-hour call on Zoom, and it always starts with a quick demo of the work that you did in the previous week. This is like a super common practice on a software team, but one of the best things about it is that it helps you kind of articulate what you did the week before, which is an amazing skill to have as you work with other developers and as you interview for new positions. So we start with a demo, and then we use the rest of the time a little bit differently based on what week it is. So you can see here that on odd numbered weeks, we start with the demo, and then we go into a learning module. And we've done a bunch of different learning modules. And again, this is a flexible thing too, based on what would benefit you the most and what you would like to learn. But some things we've covered is like, we'll definitely cover pair programming, since that's what we do at Collab Lab. We've covered accessibility, code reviews. What else? Oh, we've had former people who have gone through Collab Lab, who went and got their first dev job, come back and talk about that experience of getting into their first position. And we'll just kind of like, as your mentors, we'll kind of like be in tune with you and what you want to learn, so that we can provide you with the learning that you want and you need and that will benefit you most. And then after the learning module, you'll meet with your mentors. You'll go out into breakout rooms with your partner for the week and a mentor to talk through your plan for the next week and kind of get the ball rolling on that end. On even numbered weeks, we start the same way with a demo so that we can all clap and be in awe and be so impressed by all the work you did in the previous week. And then we'll go into a retrospective. In the retros, we'll share appreciations about our teammates, and we'll talk about what worked and what didn't work so that we can, continue building our team and working really efficiently and solidly together as a team. So retros, again, just like demos, are a really common practice on software teams. And then we'll end it as we always do, where you go into your breakout rooms with your mentors. So again, a call every week where we go over demos, and we'll get the ball rolling on the next week, and we'll either do retros or a learning module based on what week it is. Good. Those, like Andrew was saying, will always be recorded, so you can go back and watch them if you have to miss them for some reason, or if you want to see them. Like, one thing that I think is really cool is that if you do go to interview, you can bring, like, this is your work. This is like a working app that you have where you worked on a team. You can bring this kind of stuff to the interview, and like being able to review those demos so that you can like jump into your interview and be like, here's a solid demo for you on this thing that I built, can be really beneficial. So watch those YouTube videos. Okay. Yes, as long as Andrew remembers to hit record. Actually, it probably will be me going forward. So as long as Stacie remembers. Okay, let's see. How to know what to do. How do you know what to do? Okay, this project is organized into a set of user stories. Those, again, are these issues over here, are each a user story. And in each of the user stories, there's acceptance criteria. You can find those all on this project board. The link is here. The link is up at the top, and the links to all the things. But you'll live over here a lot as you move things around and get familiar with the stories. Your task or your story is done when all of the following true. All the acceptance criteria have been met. So again, when you can check off all of these boxes. Tests have been written to validate the happy path. This is optional. I haven't merged the PR apparently that says it. Testing isn't required at this point, but because you all seem to be pretty experienced, the mentors might offer you that challenge if you want to work on testing a little bit. We can cross that bridge when it comes, but we'll get all set up on the project and have a couple weeks go by first just to make sure we're tracking really well and have everything else under wraps. In the case of a UI feature, it needs to be tested for accessibility. Then the code has to be reviewed by the other pair. So there's two pairs. One pair will do the coding, and then when they're done, they'll say, hey, other pair, it's ready for review. When that pair approves it, it then goes to the mentors for final approval, feedback and approval. And when that is done, we can merge it. So the backlog, which is this collection of stories, are all of the tasks that need to be taken so that by the end of this, you have this beautiful working app. Any questions on knowing what to do? I'm sure you'll have lots of them, but anything right now? No. Gotta give you a minute just in case, because this can be confusing at first and there's a lot here. Okay, I'm here for you if you have them going forward. All right, coordination and communication. At the start of each of the weeks, so on Sunday when you break out into those breakout rooms with your partner and your mentor, this says wiki page, again, this is gonna change. You're gonna start taking you're gonna break out with your mentors and you're gonna go into these issues here. And when you're on these issues, you're gonna leave notes. I'll just show you, go to full details on your plan for the week, because you need some kind of place. And this is different on like every team ever. Maybe your team will use Jira or whatever it might be, but you need somewhere to like communicate with your partner about what the plan is going forward, what things you've done, what things you need to do, a place to share resources as you find them that, apply to what you're building. So you'll come in here, you'll go over what the story is, and then you'll start leaving comments here like, okay, we're gonna start by doing XYZ, whatever notes you need to take. And this is gonna be like your running log of what you're working on and where you're at, so that you meant to be on the same page as you, it's kind of like a really nice resource if you want to write blogs about the work that you're doing, because you have all of this information now in one place to refer back to. So keep robust notes, turn those notes into resources that help other people. Make them clean and organized so that, for example, if you learn something new about Firebase and the next pair is working on your feature, they can pop in and be like, oh, here's like a cool thing about Firebase that's really helpful for my work. Sharing knowledge is key, and it's going to be good for everybody. So keep robust notes as you work through your issues on the actual issue. That'll change in the project brief in like 30 minutes. And then we'll get into the development process. Lauren, did you want to go over the development process?
Yeah, sounds good. I can do that. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, totally. Let me stop my sharing.
Let's see. So this is always like the most challenging part of working remotely, is solving all of these like collaboration tools, like where am I and can everyone see my screen? So can everyone see the development process screen?
Sure can.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so we use GitHub and Git as our code collaboration tool. It's, I would say, an industry standard. This is something in your current positions or perhaps future positions you'll be using all of the time. So at the end of this meeting, we'll go into our breakout sessions with our peer and mentor and make sure that everyone's up and running with the master branch and that that's working for everyone. And then for the week, you will work on a feature branch. And we have a naming convention for those feature branches, that it's the initials of the first person, hyphen initials of the second person, and then a short description of the work that you're doing. So for example, Stacie created this example with her initials, dash, the initials of her partner, and then just a brief description of kind of the issue that you're working on. What else can I say? So I don't think that I'm going to work step by step through all of the Git commands, because I think that might be something better that's covered in our breakout sessions. But I think that I might prepare maybe a Git cheat sheet.
Yes.
Maybe a Git cheat sheet. I love working with Git, but I remember like starting to work with Git and it felt like a total black hole that I was just, you know, typing things into my terminal, and then I hoped I didn't break the internet, basically, is what that felt like to me. So I'm going to create a Git cheat sheet, and then we'll kind of learn together. But know that like throughout the week, if you're running into Git issues, please post your questions and challenges in the Slack chat. Like if that's just, please post those questions, because we're always happy to help people get unstuck. And just know that that's sort of part of the process, is going through those merge conflicts and like, am I making my changes on the right branch, et cetera, et cetera. So at the end of this meeting, we'll create a feature branch. One partner will do that, and then push that branch up to GitHub, like the remote repository. And then your partner will pull it down, and we'll make sure that that's all working for everyone. And then throughout the week, that's the branch that you'll be doing your work on. And then like so-and-so, Diane can be working on some changes, and she'll push her changes up to the remote repository, and then her partner can pull them down so that everyone's code for that feature is up to date. So toward the end of the week, like maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, when you feel like you've met all the acceptance criteria for your issue, you'll create a pull request. And maybe, let's see if there are any. There aren't any pull requests currently. So maybe I can show you what that looks like. Would that be valuable to show what that looks like right now?
Sure.
Okay, let me see. So let's say this is in a repository for my company, and I have some branches down here, and I can say, all right, yep, I'm totally ready to go. My code is ready, even though this is failing. And I want to create a new pull request. So I just click this button. I've gone to, the made code. I go to branches, and you can just click on new pull request. And it can say, okay, this is the branch that I was working on, and I want to merge it into master. You create a title for that pull request and whatever kind of description you want to put in there. The more description and clear and concise description, the better. And really, do you like our fire emojis? It's a breaking change. The more information you can put in there for your reviewers, the better, I think. Screenshots are really great if it's a UI change. That's super helpful. And then when you feel like this description and like creating a pull request doesn't have to be the final copy of a pull request. I don't know if we have in Collab, do we have the concept of what's that called? Draft pull requests. Do we have that?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So I don't have that in this repo, but there's a way to create something that's called create a draft pull request, which is actually something that's kind of good to do toward the beginning of the week because it's a good way for your mentor to see what it is you're working on. But when you feel like this description is good, you create a pull request, and then you can continue to modify this description as you're working, no problem. So that's kind of what creating a pull request looks like. Not really gonna do that. Next. All right, so we'll create that pull request, and then you want to notify that other pair in Slack that your code is ready to review, and just go ahead and include a link to that PR in Slack. The opposite pair then will go through, pull that branch down, and make sure, does a feature branch get built with a pull request?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
When you create a pull request, is there some kind of preview branch that gets created?
No, you're just going to create the pull request, and then you'll see it like locally the same way you always had. We don't have any kind of like staging environment or anything.
No problem. Okay, so then you'd probably want to pull that branch down and check and make sure, oh, does this work? Does it meet all the acceptance criteria, et cetera? And maybe you have some, I think the greatest part about reviewing someone's code is really learning how someone else would approach a problem. It's not always the best way to, I don't know, find issues and find bugs. But maybe you have some helpful suggestions for how something might be a little bit cleaner. But really, you're just looking, does this meet the acceptance criteria? And wow, how did this pair approach this problem, which is really valuable. You might offer feedback that the pair should incorporate into their code. In which case, and then when you feel that that's ready, this looks good to us, you can contact via Slack your mentor, right, to then do kind of a final approval. And once your mentor is like, yep, that meets acceptance criteria, et cetera, I approve this, they'll give the final approval. Then you get to go and merge your PR into the master branch, and that will automatically build like a new production site in Netlify that incorporates your changes. And then that's very exciting. That's
awesome. It. Thank you so much for going over the development process. Okay. And I'm not going to reshare my screen because the last thing just says, what else? I don't know. Maybe lots of things, maybe nothing. We're probably glossing over something. This is like a lot of information to put into 36 minutes. But be super duper noisy on Slack. If you're in Slack and you feel like you're being too noisy, you're probably not being noisy enough. So be loud over there. We want to hear all the questions. We want to hear anything that you're running into, anything you're learning. Use it to like share knowledge. Use it to cheer each other on. Use it to just build a solid team so that we can work together really well. The mentors will drop in Slack this week and let you know kind of what you can expect for us as far as communication goes, when you can expect us to reply to things. But we're always here for you. Your teammates are here for you. Be there for your other teammates. Like Andrew was saying before, it's not class. This isn't school. This is a team. And that's the kind of vibe we want to have here. So ask questions, be loud, be noisy. We're ready to roll on this. I'll give you a quick high level again because that all very like broken up. But what's going to happen is you're going to start your week on Sunday with one of these demo retro learning module calls. We're going to like get together, show each other what we worked on. And then we're going to break out and go over what's going to happen next week with our new partner. We're going to start collaborating on the actual issue list and in Slack to talk about what we're going to do. And you're going to spend your week pair programming. When you and your partner have your work done for the week, you'll ping the other team and let them know you've got a PR up ready for review. When they approve it, you'll ping your mentors and we'll give it final approval. And you can push it to merge it to master, and a new production site will be created with all of your amazing new work. Questions? No? None? Okay.
I'm curious who here has worked on a remote team before? Anybody? A little bit, yeah. That's the Diane has. That's one of the things. Like, so Zapier is fully distributed. We're very used to. I mean, for us, it was like, of course, Collab Lab is going to be this remote thing because that's what we do every day. And it's in that kind of setting, it's super important, as Stacie was saying, just to like be extra kind of verbal or typal. I don't know if that doesn't make sense, but just like be communicating all the time in Slack, just kind of letting people know what's status, or kind of if you're getting blocked or you made progress, like all those kinds of things. Just kind of be like kind of oversharing in the channels as much as you can, because that's the only. It's not really real for anybody else unless it's in there, something that we can actually see and read, and it allows the mentors to kind of catch up on what was going on, before, if you ask a question, there's no context, it's a lot harder for them to kind of help you out. So yeah, just be really noisy in Slack. It's something that takes a little getting used to. Like, it feels weird at first, but we'll all be really encouraging of that, and you'll get the hang of it in no time. So
Fact. Cool. Well, then I think we can do some breakout room and talk about partners. Let me look at the partners real quick. It is this week Jennifer and Ashling and Diane and John. So let me share my screen. I'm just going to show you so you can see what process I'm going through here. Share this screen. Share. Okay, so what I'm doing, you can see the screen, right, with the partners? Cool, I think so. Okay, I'm looking at the partners and I'm like, okay, here's my new partner. And then I'm going to pop over into the issues list and see what issues need to be tackled. These issues are in order that they need to be done. So usually every week you'll have like one of two options, and take what you want. Like, if you read through it and you see that you're like, oh, I actually really want to do this, like logic issue or this Firestore issue, or that sounds really interesting, raise your hand and take it. It's totally fine to be a little selfish and do the one that you want. So speak up quick if you see something you want. But you'll pop in here and you'll pick the issue, and then you can go there and assign it to yourself and move it over to the in progress column. So this week, what we have is, as a component, I want to be able to read from and write to the Firestore database. So that's one of the issues. The other issue that one of the pairs will take is, as a user, I want to be able to navigate between the list view and the add item view. So one of these issues is going to deal with the Firestore database that we're working with and configuring that. The other one is going to be using React Router to build routes in the app. After hearing that, does anybody want to raise their hand and snag one before the other team gets it? If not, I'll just do like number one gets number one, number two gets number two. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Number one gets number one. Jennifer and Ashling will be doing the Firestore database one. And number two, Diane and John will be doing the React Router, building routes inside the app. Mentors, do either one of you want to go with one group over the other?
I'd be down to work with Jennifer and Ashling on the Firebase one.
Okay, so Joey, Jennifer, and Ashling are going to do Firebase in one breakout room. Diane, John, and Lauren are going to do React Router in the other breakout room.
Stacie, do you want to be in either of those breakout rooms? I'm setting those up now.
I'll go Joey.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So my first time doing breakout rooms. We'll see how it goes. If it crashes and burns, we'll see it in Slack and figure it out over there. But it should work. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
And this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate
for sure.
you all, and I'm so excited to work with you all.
We're so excited. Welcome to Collab Lab. All right, here we go. Pushing the button.
On the, oh, hey, Andrew.
Hi.
Are you on the West Coast, John? Did I see that somewhere?
Yeah, I'm in Oregon.
Okay, cool. And I'm Central. That's cool. Andrew is West Coast time.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen. So actually, first, let me ask, Diane and John, do you have the repository pulled down to your machine? Should we do that step?
Yeah, I haven't pulled it down yet.
Yeah, mine's going. Mine's up and running.
Okay, so I'm going to just share my screen. And I do have the repository pulled down, but I just want to show you the process just in case you haven't. So here's my terminal. Can everyone see my terminal?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this is just how I do it. I'm going to go to, so this is the right repository, the TCL5 Smart Shopping List. I want to clone it, and this little button over here will allow me to just copy that URL easily. Or you can find this copy URL that Stacie was showing us earlier in the project brief as well. There's like a list of links toward the top. But this is how I would do it. So I just copy that URL, make sure. Here's my terminal. I'm already here, so I'm just going to type out the command. So I say, hey, Git, I want you to clone this thing. And I would hit enter, and it'll do all kinds of fancy things. And that will have me on the master branch of the repository. So has everyone done that part?
Yeah.
John's there. How's it going, Diane?
Yeah, I'm just getting there. I was just setting up my folder.
Oh, sure. And then while we do that, let me go to, this is where the issues are, I think.
Okay, should be done.
And then, oh, actually, I want to go to projects, right?
Yeah, that's
Projects. That's where we're going to find that cool Kanban board. I go there. So we're working on the list view, right? So creating those tabs using React Router. This is our issue. I'm just going to pull it up. Let me just pull it up, make it big. Oh.
I think how do you do it? Like maybe over on the right hand side, if you click the title of it. Is that right? Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Cool. Okay, so here's a bigger description. So this is one of two stories that should be completed in the first week to enable further development of the app. So AC, the acceptance criteria for this ticket are that React Router DOM has been added as a project dependency, that we have two tabs present and persistent at the bottom of the app, one for the list view and the other for the add an item view. I would really encourage you to look at Andrew's example app. I don't know, for me, seeing what something needs to look like is really useful for doing all kinds of development, front-end development, and even the data side of things. If I have design to look at or something that's already functioning, like it gives me a good idea, a good place to get started. So when a link is clicked, the browser URL up here will update to represent the current view. And then finally, whichever tab is selected should indicate somehow that that tab is the one that's active or selected. So those are the acceptance criteria for that. Let's see. Cool, and that's in progress. And then should I put assignees in here?
Yeah, so yeah, Diane and John.
Cool, so there's Diane. I have assigned you. And John, I have assigned you. Perfect. Right, and then let's look at, how are you doing, Diane? How's your project doing?
Yeah, it's cloned.
Okay, perfect. So I was reading through some of the other repositories and some of the work that's been done in other cohorts, and it seems like that it's really important to have each person throughout the weeks like have the experience of being able to kind of create that first do, just so that you get a lot of information in your commit history and Git, that somebody's in charge 1 week of creating a branch and pushing it up to GitHub, and then the other person will pull it down. So I don't know if there's a process in place, like maybe the first person who's listed, does it matter?
It doesn't matter too much, but yeah, just
Oh,
especially around like creating the PRs, make sure that you get a chance to create some of the PRs over the course of the project. So you kind of have those as part of your history. Yeah.
Cool. So let's see. Let me go back to. Does anyone desperately want to be the first person to create a feature branch? John? Daniel?
After you, John.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and then John, if you want to share your screen, and then we can walk through it together. So at the bottom, it'll say share of the Zoom window.
I'll say share at the bottom. Let me close these real quick and actually start up Studio Code.
Oh, sure.
So I can close that project. Let's see. All right. And we'll go to share. So it'll be this one. All right. Can you guys
Perfect.
see that?
Yep, I see your VS Code.
Awesome. All right. So then I'll just open up that. If I put it in here, project.
Perfect.
All right.
There it is.
So
And then you use terminal right in VS Code. That's awesome. Okay. And then let's see. Why don't you type in there, just to see where we are, why don't you type in Git status? And that is something that I use all the time to just tell me where in the world am I. Untracked files. Use Git blah, 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 blah. So you created a Git ignore.
I don't remember if I did or if it did that. Oh,
Maybe it did.
I must be.
That's cool. We'll just, when we check out a new branch, that change will travel over with you to the new branch. So let's just do it that way. So let's see. Can you pull up, can you make your terminal a little bit taller for me?
Yeah, you got it.
Perfect. Okay, and it's saying on branch master. Okay. That is cool. Your branch, it says your branch is behind origin master by 7 commits. So let's make sure that your branch is up to date, because I know that Andrew and Stacie have been merging some PRs. So let's just do git pull. I need to get the latest changes. Yeah.
There you go.
Beautiful. It was just the project brief that was changed. And again, let's just do git status, because that's always nice to know what's going on.
Yeah, if I can spell.
And no, it's impossible to type like when somebody else is watching you. It's so hard.
Right.
Beautiful. Okay, so now we want to create a new branch that you and Diane will do your feature work on. And I'm going to pull up the project brief. So again, I think the convention is you're going to do git checkout, and then you do -b, which just means dash branch, like, hey, I need a new branch, and then a space, and then put your initials, hyphen, Diane, are you DK?
Yeah.
DK.
DK.
hyphen, and then we just come up with the description. I would just do something like tabs.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Tabs.
All right, so we have git checkout -b, or you could do -branch, and then hit enter, and we'll have a new branch.
Oh, there you go.
Switch to a new branch, blah, blah, blah. Let's do git status, see where we are. Perfect, git ignore. So you will actually have a change to push. So, and git is,
I'm curious what's in that git ignore. Can we just?
Yeah, let's pop it open.
Oh,
Node modules.
I think I did do that. No? Well, if I did, I don't remember.
I thought there was a git ignore that came along with
there?
create React app. I thought.
You know, when I pulled it down, there wasn't a git ignore either.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Node modules is a good one to ignore. You could also ignore the git ignore.
Oh, can you do that? That's
Yeah,
very...
then it won't be in a, yeah, it's very meta. Then it won't be part of the changes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can put, go ahead and put underneath node modules in the git ignore file. Yep. So underneath that, and you can put, I think it's just .git ignore.
The name of the file.
Yeah. Perfect. And then save it.
Now
Great.
you
And then
git status. Yeah.
Yeah. Now if you do git status, it'll say.
Good. Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
Gorgeous. Go ahead,
So
Andrew.
a couple little tips. So I make aliases for these git commands because I don't want to type status. So you can look up, like, you could Google like git alias, and you can set up, like, I have git st for status, and co for checkout, and like all this kind of stuff. And then you can hit the up arrow and you can get back to previous commands. So you could probably, if you just hit the up arrow, it should just give you git status, and then you can hit it. Or yeah, see there.
There's that.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
Okay.
Cool. Yep, I do the same. I have a bunch of aliases that you will set up in your Bash profile, which I never remember how to do, and I have to Google it every time I do that. So if you would like some shortcuts, look for adding git shortcuts to Bash profile.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'm going to have you just type, I don't think you have to git add or anything because it technically says there's nothing to add. So just type for me git push because I want you to see the message that git's going to give you, and then go ahead and hit enter. Cool. So it says the current branch blah 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 has no upstream branch. To push the current branch and set the remote as upstream, and then it'll tell you the command that you can use. So that's something that's really nice. Like git will help you. Sometimes it's a little hard to read through those error messages. So if you type exactly, or you can probably just copy and paste it into your terminal. Yeah. There you go. And that should push it up. Da, 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 da.
There it is.
Good. And then can you scroll down a little bit for me?
That's all it is.
Okay, there you go. I just couldn't see that bottom thing. Make sure
Okay.
that. All right, so now let's switch and have Diane pull that down. So if you stop sharing, I think you can do that at the top of your share screen.
Oh, share. Oh, stop share. There it is.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, so that command, it did two things. So it pushed the branch to the remote, and it set up your local branch to track the remote branch. So now all you have to do in the future is just say git push, and it'll push to that branch on the remote.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yep. And then Diane, if you want to share your screen, we can go through just pulling it down and make sure that everything is good to go for you.
Okay. Wait. Just have to add Zoom to my system preferences. Just
Oh, sure.
is that up?
Excellent. And you're on the master branch. And then you just cloned it, right? Let's just do, give me a git status in there. Let's see how we're doing. Perfect. And then git pull, just to make sure. Cool. Yes. And that's also, that reminds me, it's really important since John pushed his branch, right? Previously, you didn't have access to that branch because it wasn't in the remote repository. But now you can see, okay, there's a new branch, like the other team has created their branch. So you can check that out. Or there's the branch that you two will be working on, the JBDK tabs. So for you, you just need to do git checkout. Yep, and you don't have to do -B. Yep, you can just do, and it might do autocomplete for you. Okay, that looks good. Git checkout, blah, blah, blah. Cool, and then if you do a git status, great. And you don't have to pull, like it automatically checked out those changes. But as you're working through the week, depending on who's doing the coding and who's doing sort of the guiding and how you work together as a pair, you want to make sure before you do any work that you pull down from the remote repository so that you have your partner's latest changes, right? So let's say Diane did some work and pushed some changes up to the branch. John, before you get started, you're gonna wanna make sure that you pull down those changes so that you have kind of the latest work. Cool.
Cool.
So what questions do you have about that so far?
So I'm assuming I'm probably gonna have to do another pull. So I get, or do I have to do another pull?
I don't think so, but why don't you go ahead, it won't hurt anything, just do a git pull, but you shouldn't have to do anything because Diane didn't make any changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She just pulled down what you kind of sent up to GitHub. So you shouldn't have to do another pull.
Okay.
But it's always a good idea, especially like as you two are working together on the exact same branch, it's always a good idea to do a nice git pull.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool. And then what other questions? Are there other questions about kind of this process?
No.
Or Andrew, other comments, other things that you think are important to?
No, I mean, this stuff is going to just become second nature to you. In a couple weeks, you'll be like, okay, you know, step one, just get the branch set up, you know,
Yep.
and then, you know, then you can focus on the kind of the actual problem of the story. But yeah, I mean, if, you know, there'll be other things that come up with Git, like when, you know, if somebody else merges their PR before your PR, you're going to have to like kind of merge their changes in before you push yours and stuff. But we'll get to that stuff when it comes up.
When it happens. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Diane, if you want to stop sharing your screen, and then I'll share mine and we can talk about the issue and maybe how you want to approach working together for the week, kind of make a plan for what are good times to meet, etc.
I just had a quick question about the merging into master at the end, like after we've, you know, completed the issue and stuff. Are we going to do that with you, or do we do it on our own?
We can do it totally either way.
Probably
So
with you guys, and then once we get used to it, maybe a bit more alone, but
yeah, absolutely. And then I would say too, like as you are working throughout the week, and I'm trying to think of, if you run into Git challenges, just ping me, like specifically my name on Slack, and I can jump on a Zoom call with you and help you out. I'm gonna put in the chat there's a good plugin for VS Code. It's called Git Lens. So you're going to want to look for that plugin for your editor. It's super helpful for managing merge conflict. It's just gives you a nice visual. I like to use that a lot. And if you have any other tools that you have used previously, go ahead and share that. But Git Lens is really useful. But yeah, as you run into Git challenges, like just reach out and we can help you do that, and we can help once you get to kind of the pull request side of things, just ping me and I can walk you through that process too. Because, you know, like even as much experience as you have working with code, there are always processes that you aren't going to know. Like I was a developer for a couple of years before I ever had to submit a pull request. Like I worked with GitHub, but I had just never worked for a company that used pull requests and code review. So as you know, and then I learned how to do it just by having somebody help me. So as you run into those things that you've never done before and you want somebody to kind of walk you through it, absolutely ping me. We can do that pull request together and what that process looks like.
Just a quick kind of remote working tip is, tag Lauren in, tag the mentors in, but do it in the channel. And that way other people might have the same question, or, they can also then go back and search for that answer later if they need to, and that kind of thing. So it's good to do that stuff out in the open.
Yep. Good idea. Okay. And then as we get to like pushing the scary button of, oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's see, I'm sharing my dogs. This is Lucy. This is Mia. Lucy is a very good dog. Mia is like a work in progress. He's very big and super naughty. Okay, let me reshare. Share. All right, this is what I want to share. There we go. All right, let's go to the board. I'm trying to remember. So John, you just started doing, where is everybody? Where's everybody? Put you down here. You just started a new position, right? Can you remind me what you're doing?
I'm just doing support, tech support.
Okay, cool.
For a company.
And then do you work remotely? Do you work at your place?
We have a place to go to, so
cool.
Remote would be nice.
And then Diane, you.
No, I'm glad I'm not.
Okay. And Diane, do you work from home? Is that what you said?
No, I have an office, but my previous job was somewhat remote. We were in Montreal and they were in Toronto. So okay. We had a lot of, kind of Zoom talks or.
Gotcha. And then and you're like the one dev on your team, isn't that right? Is that you?
Right now, yeah. At my position.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So like pairing can look like a lot of different things. One way to pair program is to get together on a Zoom chat, and one person will drive. In other words, they'll be the person that's typing in the editor, and then the other person will be looking on and kind of guiding, like saying, okay, let's try this. And like, so one person drives the code part of it, but the other person is saying what the other person should be typing in that editor. Like that's one way to do pair programming. Another way is to just kind of troubleshoot together. So again, I would suggest that one person is going to be doing the typing because it'll make it easier in terms of sharing the code and not getting conflicts. And then you'll talk through the issue together and decide what you want to do. What I would suggest is we start talking about how you might get started thinking about, like, how are you thinking about this problem? What are some of the steps that you can think of right away that need to be considered, and maybe who wants to do what, and then when you want to meet and what needs to be done or thought about by that time. So I'm going to sort of turn it over to you two.
Well, I mean, I've been messing around with React Router recently with a project that I'm doing, personal project that I'm doing. So I don't know where you're at with that, Diane.
I haven't worked with React Router since the bootcamp.
Oh, okay.
To be very honest. So I don't mind typing if you want a guide.
Okay, yeah, we can totally do that. Not an expert on it, but I'm learning. I like it.
I'll definitely do my research for our first meeting, unless this is our first meeting. But no, I'll look into it for sure, just to remember. But
Yeah, no, this time is really just for us to like make sure you all are comfortable with your approach to it, get you scheduled for that first synchronous, like your first pair programming kind of session, and then we can be done here. So.
Yep. Yeah. So I would just try to set a time that you can meet. And I would encourage you, like Andrew said, to be noisy in Slack, number one, but also be really noisy in this issue. Like put all of your ideas and share anything that you think of that could be useful in this comment. And I would also say, for now, like don't start coding. I would suggest, this is not a requirement, but I would suggest like do that work together at first, and then as you have made some progress, then maybe you can decide, okay, Diane, you're going to work on this piece, and John is going to work on this piece of it, and do some research. But be really noisy in the issue. It's a really good way to communicate with one another, for sure. And you can tag yourself in here. So like I can look for somebody and I can tag you in there. So that should, if you go up here and watch this repo, it should send you a notification, like an email notification, to know like, oh, John just pinged me. I should look at something when I have the chance.
Okay. All right. Well, you're in Montreal, so that's going to be Eastern.
yeah, you're like 3 hours away.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I'm on a Monday through Friday. I usually don't get home until about 5, more likely 6 o'clock on my end. So that's going to be like 9 o'clock your time.
That's fine. I'm okay with working at 9.
Okay.
Unless you want to work at like 6 a.m.
6 a.m. your time? 6 a.m. here?
That'd be early.
Yeah, we could do it after work. Like if you want to do like a 6 to 7 or 8, and I'll do 9 to 10 or 11.
Okay. Yeah, we can. I mean, I don't mind even, I guess, waking up a little bit earlier too. So my normal schedule is like pretty much, oh geez. I don't really know what my schedule is going to be yet because I'm still in training.
Okay.
So it could change once I'm all trained up. But currently I go in at about 8. I start at about 8:30 my time, 8:30 a.m. And then don't get home until about 6. So.
Okay. I mean, again, like I'm good for 9 this week. I'll just plan around it.
Sure.
I could do, I mean, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm pretty.
I'm pretty open there too. So, what day do you want to work? Like,
Oh, hello.
Looks like John's frozen. I'll take this as an opportunity just to encourage you to meet early in the week, because you know, we want to have everything merged by Sunday, which means you need to kind of get mentor review on Saturday, which means you need to get the other pair to review on Friday, which means you kind of have to have your work done by Thursday. You know what I mean? Like kind of, if you start walking it back, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday is when probably the bulk of the work should happen. And then after that, it's more responding to review comments and stuff like that.
Okay. I'm good with that. I will tell John once he unfreezes. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, like we get the bulk, and then Thursday review it with from the other pair.
Yeah. So they'll ask you for their review, and you can ask them for yours, and then that kind of gives you a day to respond to it. Then you pull the mentors in and kind of get people to, you know, get the mentors to review it as well and have a day to respond to their feedback.
Okay. And for the mentors, do you just Slack you guys?
Yeah. You can just, and you can even, I mean, you can individually, you know, kind of tag people in Slack. If you ever need to tell the whole channel something, you can go at here, and it'll tag everybody in, kind of the next time they log in. So.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know what happened there.
Oh, happens all the time with Zoom.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were just saying, Tuesday and Wednesday, the earlier the better, because there's also the peer review and then the mentor review, and then by Sunday it should be pulled into the master. So
Okay.
Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm good.
Yeah, and the first 2 weeks, what we found with other previous cohorts is that the first week and the second week too, there's a lot of merge conflicts. After that, it starts to settle down. So, because like we're still defining the structure of the app and things, like you may find that there's the first merge especially is a little bit hairy. So, just kind of maybe allow a little extra time for that. We can totally jump on with you and work through merge conflicts and stuff if needed. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
When do most of the merge conflict happen? Is it in between the pairs itself, or in between the two pairs, like once we both push our features to the master?
Yeah, it's more about when, because if you and John are pairing, so you might make a change and you push it up, he pulls it down on the branch, and the two of you are kind of working on the branch, and that's usually okay.
Yeah.
But it's then when you go to merge the two different PRs into master, that's when
Right.
start to see conflicts. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. What other questions can you think of right now? I really want to encourage you to be loud in the issue and be loud in Slack, and I'll try to be super loud too. And then it's best like to get my attention for sure, like tag me in Slack. So that's because then I'll just get a notification right away. Then I'll know right away. So that's the best way to get in touch with me is to tag me. But like share what you're learning, share as much as possible. And if you're stuck, don't be scared. Like it's okay to be, it's totally normal and great and okay to be stuck. Just don't be scared to ask for help. Like that's what we're here for.
Yeah, so you can kind of think of the mentors as like senior developers. That's one of the roles that they play, right? So, if you were on a team and you were kind of stuck how to do something technically, you'd say, hey, senior developer, can you help me kind of understand how I should approach this problem? The other role that they play is product owner. So kind of validating that what you built, meets the acceptance criteria, kind of, fits into the product. If you have questions about, well, we could do it this way or that way, which one's better for the user? Maybe you ask the mentors for that kind of advice as well. So, so the mentors work as a team as well. So you could, you can tag in any mentor for code review or whatever. It's one of the nice things about we have mentors in different time zones as well. So you could kind of have a little more coverage. You're more likely to get an answer soon if you tag in sort of the whole group, as opposed to any just single persons.
Okay. Nice.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And the first couple of weeks, like I said, you're gonna have to get the hang of the logistics of it, but then you get into a rhythm, and then you really start focusing on the work and the collaboration and stuff. It'll be good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. All right. I think that we can leave you to it to kind of set up your first session, and then you can decide from there what works for you. And then again, just be noisy, and we're around and we're here for you. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to working with you both and like learning a lot along the way myself. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice. All right, cool. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye. Thank you, Andrew.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good
Take care.
Sunday. Bye.
All right. Bye.